Ticats Chalk Talk with Marshall Ferguson.
Welcome to a playoff edition of Tiger Cats Chalk Talk, everyone. I'm Marshall Ferguson for TSN 1150 in Hamilton. This week going into the playoffs, I want to give you an opportunity to just get snippets of a couple of X's and O's moments that you can look for this Sunday when the Ticats do indeed host the Edmonton Eskimos. The first up, I want to give you a look at the Hamilton Tiger Cats, what they'll have to defend, including the counter run game by the Edmonton Eskimos that they used in Week 19 right here in Hamilton at Tim Hortons Field. They run their counter in two different ways. One of them is to be able to use both offensive linemen pulling all the way around. What that would involve is your guard and your tackle pulling out around. You show like you're going to the left side, then you're going to cut back, quarterback hands it off over the top, and you get a nice little block there. That just involves the slot backs blocking up downfield like that. The other way that they were running their counter run game in Week 19 against the Tiger Cats is instead of using the guard and the tackle, what they actually end up doing is pulling the slot back around. So they'll pull the guard through, then the slot back leads around, and they'll show the same run action where he's coming this direction, then he'll cut back around, and they'll just block the backside with the tackle like that. It's a little bit of a difference in their blocking scheme, but it makes a massive difference in the way that they're actually able to play. And they were able to use this kind of run play through the first 3 quarters of the game in Week 19, 5 times, averaging 11 yards per play for John White, who was a monster in that game at the end of the regular season. The next X's and O moment that I want to bring to you going into this playoff game is the 5-man box. Sometimes what happens with the Tiger Cats offense is they scare defensive backs and defensive backfields enough that they'll spread themselves out a little bit too thin and they leave themselves with only 5 men in the box. Basically what happens is they'll line up with a corner, Will Edmonton here. Then they'll also, of course, have a halfback. Maybe they bring the free safety over here. They roll their Sam linebacker out high. Now he's lined up across from there. You put a halfback here, a corner there, and then you take your Will linebacker and kind of plus him out so that you can roll the free safety to cover the middle of the field. At the same time, you would end up having an end, a tackle, an end, your middle linebacker, and that's your 12. What that leaves is just these 5 or 6 men inside the box. The best way to be able to exploit this, as it was shown in the game film back in Week 19, is to be able to run the rock with CJ Gable up the middle. They got this look, did the Hamilton Tiger Cats in Week 19, early in the second quarter, and they decided to throw against it down near the red zone. It didn't work out. They didn't score a touchdown. So later in the game, they came back to it. They got the exact same look, and they plunged forward for a gain of about 5 or 6 with CJ Gable. They've got an opportunity to run the rock and get CJ Gable touches when the Edmonton Eskimos spread themselves out and decided to go with that 5-man box. And my last X and O for you going into this Eastern Division semifinal of the Canadian Football League. And listen, I can draw up receivers, DBs, offensive linemen, screenplays, counter inside runs, 2 different ways they run it. I can run up all that. There's only one thing you need to know about my last key. Brandon Revenberg. Can you even see that? 57. Yeah, you can see it. Only one thing you need to know. Brandon Revenberg. Screen game. Specifically, again, going back on the Week 19 film. Almondo Sewell. Boom. See ya. Eddie Steele. Good night. Threw him down, pushed him off to the side, got downfield, and was exceptional at being able to block downfield to open up CJ Gable for 2 of the biggest games in the passing attack for the Tiger Cats in that Week 19 matchup. If the Tiger Cats want to have success, they're going to need Brandon Revenberg. Now, from being down to practice, I can tell you, there's a chance he might line up somewhere else on that offensive line than that left guard spot. If he's not the left guard, and if they use Peter Diakowski there, they don't get the same ability in the screen game. That could change what their offense looks like, and specifically their screen game. But who knows? It's the playoffs. They'll go against their tendencies. Maybe they'll find a new way to use Brandon Revenberg if he is at a different spot on that offensive line to get downfield and block and open up some lanes for the ball carriers. It's going to be an interesting game. It's an exceptional matchup. It's playoff time. This is the best part of the CFL. I hope you join us on Sunday afternoon. 11:30 a.m. is the start of the pregame show with Jamie Thomas, and coming up right after, it's kickoff at 1 p.m. with Coach John Salavanis and myself right here on TSN 1150 Hamilton. Rookie of the Year. He's really, really good.